Hello. How's it going? Perfect. We would like to wish everyone a happy Independence Day as we welcome you to today's action for what's expected to be a competitive race today, as some of the top drivers in sim racing from across India are all set to go for the Mumbai Falcons Indian eRacing Championship in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. I'm Justin Prince alongside the booth tonight. In the director's seat is Rob Banjopadhyay as these drivers get all set to go for the middle portions of the season. It's been a competitive campaign so far with many different drivers showing speed throughout the season. The question's going to be, who can come away with a victory today at the Okayama International Circuit, one of the series' legacy tracks known for its exciting battles and thrilling finishes. Before we get into the details for today's action, I'd remind you that today is sponsored by, in association with, Volkswagen Motorsport. Volkswagen Motorsport India launched the Pole Cup in 2010, marking their entrance into Indian motorsport. Their aim was to provide a platform for young drivers to begin professional racing and display their skills on a national level. Since then, they have produced many race drivers who have progressed to race internationally. The organization continues to groom budding racing talent into world-class drivers and recently won the Indian Touring Car Championship. After the pole, they had the Ventio Cup and then the Amio Cup, and now going back to the poles for the upcoming seasons. An exciting race today on the docket here at Okayama, a track known for its intense action in this series, especially in the middle sector. It's a track that opened just a couple decades ago, and all the corners named after British drivers, one of the first private tracks in all of Japan for motorsports. The dangerous parts of the racetrack today in the best passing zones include the hairpin corner, along with sections such as the Revolver Corner, known for its dangers, setting up the Piper Corner, and several drivers have involved in incidents in the series' history, and Redmond Corner. Hobbs Corner is also fairly difficult today, as well as the first corner around today's racetrack. Many new drivers joining the series today, looking to try and impress, such as the driver you see now on your screen, Siddharth Pandyaria, an entrepreneur and racing driver for Ronin Simsport. He's an academy driver for that program, ran the 24 Hours of Le Mans and the Sebring 12 Hours event. So someone with a lot of experience on the sim, to say the very least, as well as with experience with some teams connected to real-world organizations. He's currently 5th in the qualifying session, 10 minutes of open qualifying for today's action here at Okayama. Now let's talk a little bit about how the championship has fared coming into today's action. Amit Kuti is currently the points leader after 4 total rounds of action, 194 total points scored on the campaign, second in qualifying. That's a decent gap to Sai Prithvi, who has 135 points in the season. Shelvin Fernandez is third in the standings, with Ankit Taji in fourth. Rounding at the top 5 with 106 points is the man on top of the board in qualifying at the moment, Mohammed Ibrahim, who has the pole by just about a couple 100ths of a second, a 122.886 so far in this session. In total, 26 drivers have made starts so far in 2020 this summer season. All of them have been very competitive for many of these races. The question is going to be who will maintain the consistency by the time we get to the final race and the final inversion come the final weekend. It's Sunday on race number 16. For many fans watching along today, we'll follow along with Ibrahim, but today, I'd like to remind you of the fan boost. Each weekend, there are 3 fan boosts given to be able to help a respective driver for their points tallies. There was the Instagram story given the day before today's races. Today, it's for YouTube's action. Be sure to vote for your favorite driver today by commenting on in the section using the hashtags for today's action to try and help your driver earn points for each additional round. Track conditions for this race today: 88 degrees Fahrenheit is the track temp at the moment, 79 degrees Fahrenheit is the air temp, clear blue skies, wind just southeast at 2 miles an hour, little wind factor today at this 2.31 11-turn circuit. Looking like it's going to be a very nice and calm race today, to say the very least. We'll see if one of the other newcomers today, race car driver with 5 years of sim experience, is Samir Shara, who is in 7th on the board. 1:23.357 in qualifying. Just a couple spots around, in fact, our other newcomer. Both of these drivers planning to run the campaign or as a new entrant to the points tallies. Under 3 minutes to go in qualifying. Stick around. More action coming up just after this. I'd like to remind you that this series is presented by the Mumbai Falcons. They've undertaken several initiatives to innovate and possibly impact the entire motorsports ecosystem. That's related facilities. Their overall vision is to develop supporting projects to support motorsport and next-generation automotive developments. Following on in the final moments of qualifying, as Meridian is currently in 7th in qualifying, while Sarah has moved all the way up to P4. Still Ibrahim with the pole time by now half a second. As we see the 24 just getting passed by the number 33, this time by a 1:22.6, that time by the quickest time, a 1:22.1 in the session. Preet just got bumped off P2, however, and with Kuti with a 1:22.485 last time by at the stripe. Now remember, with these types of races, with 20 minutes being the factor, draft can play vital importance. Especially down the back straightaway to the hairpin corner, as we've seen many times, as well as the affected dirty area in that second sector. Has caught so many drivers off guard in this series' history. Just a few moments away, though, from finding out who will have track position. Look at Ranjan Kumar, who is up in P4. Put in some great times in testing. 1:22.685 is just a couple 100ths off the top 3 starting positions for today's action. In total, 19 entrants for today's action on the track. Dav and Katuria have not put in qualifying times, however, so far in this session. The separation from 1st to 17th is about 1.8 seconds. As the checker flag waves, everyone who is currently on their final laps have 2 minutes to set said laps around the racetrack. A couple of the drivers who have a chance to bump up their times include the drivers up towards the front like Cypress V, as well as others like Fernandez, as well as Raymond Summerwell, who is also in P6, as you see right here on screen. He's the first driver outside of the 1:22 bracket in qualifying so far. Having to deal with dirty air, though, off the yellow machine just up the road, who's also looking to finish his times. That's Viswaz, who is currently just up the track. See what time he can put in with some draft down the straightaway, nearly pushes up into the sand trap. Final minutes of qualifying to set times, as this time by not able to bump up the time about 1/10, make it 2/10 slower. His qualifying session is done. Ibrahim has a chance to add a little bit more cushion if he wants to on his qualifying times. He's been one of the quickest drivers in the entire session. Remember, didn't start in races 1 and 2, however. Jake Sperry on the call for the second round of the season with races 3 and 4. 54, 52 points scored in those respective races. Ibrahim this time by a 1:22 flat. That is the new pole time in the final 40 seconds of qualifying. That only one other driver left on track, Sunil Cookday, the last driver who can put in an official time on the board. Everyone else has just wrapped up their respective times around the racetrack. Positions just about set. And Cookday on the left side of your screen, not able to bump up his time. We'll look through the starting lineup for today's race in just a couple moments. You're watching coverage of the Indian eRacing Championship from Okayama International Circuit. Welcome back, everyone, to Okayama, as we're all set to go for today's action for the Mumbai Falcons Indian eRacing Championship in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. In total, 19 drivers registered for today's action. Let's take a look at how they will start today for today's 20-minute feature. Hamid Ibrahim starts on the pole today with a 122 flat, with Amit Kuti in second. Row number 2, it's Sai Prithvi along with Kumar. Row 4, it's Samil Sawara alongside Raiden Summerwell. Madhu Tija starts in 7th spot with Kaushik Mohanraja in P number 8. Siddharth Mahadirprata in P number 9. Arthur Rekhav Madhuraja in P number 10. In 11th spot today, Rohit Root, along with Shevlin Fernandez in P number 12. Ankit Roy starts 13th. Sunil Cookday 14th. Cabin, Viswaz, Dudia, Yadav, and Kadudia round out your entries. Green flag is out. We're underway for race number 5 of the season. Great jump for Ibrahim out of the front of the field. Rest of the field 2-3 wide into the first quarter. No trouble for the most part. Mid-pack, though, sees Tija along with Mohanraja in trouble. 3-4 other cars spinning. Rest of the field able to get through safely. Rough start for the back half of the field on the cold tires on lap number 1. Already to sector number 2. Ross looking strong so far, +2 off the jump already. Prithvi nearly pushed off the track, however, in the outward curve. Onto the hairpin corner they go this time. Right behind them, that's defense trying to be played right now by Summerwell to the hard inside. Harv trying to watch along with Rekhav right down to the bottom side, as well as Kumar holds on to the spot still for the time being for 5th. Great start to today's action as trouble. Kuti hits the inside wall. And one of your top drivers in the point standings with severe damage already out of contention. Let's take a look at how close this was for Kumar as Kuti snapped it off the corner. And the Revolver corner and Piper corner bite another driver in this series. Kuti, as a result, all the way back in 17th position. Remember, there is an invert for tomorrow's race following the junior action. However, will not be in line for the invert unless he can gain some track position. Kuti also forced to take the faster pair, along with Kutudia and a couple other drivers on that first lap. Estimate distance today, 15 total laps under the 20 minutes today. It's rated Summerwell. Already is up to P5 on the racetrack, trying to keep up with the draft of Kumar. However, John is inside the draft. You also have Samil Sarat in his first event of the season, already leading the second pack. However, has to catch up by 2 seconds to Ibrahim. And a great start for him this season. Saprithi, one of the series' veterans, able to recover after his rough start. Trouble, though, in Sector 2. Kevin and Rekha Patadria have now had trouble in that section. Kevin already off the racetrack. This is why, as you see them sent off to the tire barrier, this was in the hairpin corner again. And Kevin, now with severe damage, will slow on down. That is likely another tow coming up. And faster pair. Also note, Kuti has elected to park his machine after his first lap incident. Just as I say that, longer repairs from Kuti as he actually just rolled out of the track, right in the middle of the battle for P4. Just out of the way of the battle for P3 on the racetrack. Kuti electing to go much slower on the racetrack. Fought on board with Sai Prithvi, series champion, just a couple seasons ago. For the rise of Amit Kuti and the consistency popped up into play. keeping Sahil within check right now for the 19-year-old up in front of him. Bit of a tire lock up there. Car looks okay for the time being, though, in terms of the grip levels. Still losing a bit of time, though, on the racetrack. Gap is about 2.6 seconds. Let's talk a little bit about the 24 machine, who's up in P2 right now, as we talked about one of his first races of the campaign. 2018 was crowned a national champion in the MRF INRC 1300s. JK Tire INRC LGBF4 rookie national champion. Various different series has risen through the ranks. MRF 1300, the MRF 1600, JK Tire LGBF4 championships all across India. Strong driver looking for a strong debut today, putting on a strong statement, currently holding on to second spot, but is losing about 40 to 6/10 a lap in the early stages to the race leader in Ibrahim, who is continuing to just dominate up at the front. 122.2 last time by. Again, an impressive campaign so far for him. As we look at the battle again for third. He's still following tire track to tire track for the time being, just not able to make any move quite yet. For that chance to pounce once more, it can take several laps. Same can be said for the grouping back here. Still fighting along Kumar, as Summerwell now is under pressure again for the 41. He was also closing in at this moment. Nearby Abdudia also within the train at the moment for about now 10th spot. The car you see make a mistake was Root, losing some positions as well as Dudia. Or rather, I should say, yes indeed, Root. Here's Mohanrajah, who also had some trouble here, as you see, in 12th position now, slower back in the back of the field. So far, only 5 drivers have had to use a faster pair in this race today. Very clean action so far. Okayama, as the estimated distance is now shrunk to 10 to go this time. Now for Sai Prithvi, 20-year-old student, looking to show what he can do today. Multiple years of sim racing experience. His hobbies include, well, video games, which fits into the hobbies, as well as reading. His goal? Win the championship. Remember, has won a championship in this series. That was back in Season 2. Early on in the series' history. Not able to pounce yet, though. Behind them, though, a car pounced on. That is Kutira, just passed him in terms of lap traffic and slows up Summerwell a little bit. Loses him some touch to Kumar as a result. He is, however, pulling away from the 41 machine in the backdrop. Same section, though. Mohanrajah now under pressure. And goes around with a spin. Dudia is the car who spins around. Mohanrajah right there was trying to pounce. And similar to what we've seen in the junior race, contact with the tire, bye-bye goes the car in front. So a rough start to the action so far in today's race. As mentioned on the YouTube version of this broadcast today, one question to ask. Name India's only FIA's first Grade 1 circuit. Well, second question coming up. Just a couple moments in the comment sections. Mention that just a couple moments or so, as Prithvi still stays within range of the 24, now more than 5+ seconds behind the race leader. About a second or so rather. Slower than the 33 still, this grouping. Look at Root is currently running in P10 on the racetrack. Earlier today, he talked about his predictions for today in this series.
Hi, my name is Rohit Raut, and my prediction for today's race results is Mohammad Ibrahim will win, Sai will finish second and Raghav Budiraja will finish third.
Again, Rohit Rook holding on to a clean race car in P10. +1 from the drop of the green flag. Much of the field has spaced out outside of this grouping once again. You see on screen. It remains a train for the time being. And Ridley just continuing to apply the pressure. The youngster up in front has been able to be good in the corner in towards the straightaways, but once she's gotten into corner entry, that's where the strength has seemed to be for Sahil throughout this race so far. Able to send it in a little bit deeper. He struggled at times on exit, like right there. And this time in my custom, Prithvi tries to go to the inside. Defensive line to the bottom. Prithvi tries to go for the switchback, tries to give the squeeze. Nearly hits the right side tire on the back end of the 24. Tire wobbles around. Tire looks like it may be okay as he continues to rumble on and pulls back away from Prithvi. And that could have been disaster for the battle for second spot. These two are still running away, mind you, from 4th, 5th, and 6th. You see in the backdrop who are separated by more than a second apiece. Samuel still that car who's the trailer right behind Kumar and Kuti, who is in the midst of trying to unlap himself after spending 47 seconds in the pit lane with repairs in the fast repair. In the line, which was the first Indian Formula 1 race team. Comment sections to today's broadcast. Answers the question. Here's the look for Kuti though on board as Kuti dives to the inside. This will close up the gap a little bit for that battle for 4th spot. Remember, if you think back to some of the earlier races to Season 3, series history, this track was known for its intense incidents, and we talked about it in the pre-race. We've seen Kuti and Prithvi, the championship favorites at the time, tango up a couple times at this racetrack. It's not an easy circuit in these types of cars, to say the very least, especially in that second sector with the dirty air, as we've seen all race long. And that's been part of a hampering effect for some of these cars to try and fight in these battles. Under 9 minutes to go on the clock. The action continues to see Ibrahim, Sarah, Prithvi, Kumar, and Samuel, your top 5 on the racetrack. See on the pylon on the left side of your screen, a lot of the gaps separating the cars out by about a second, up to in some cases 6 seconds. And breathing room. Your biggest mover so far is the 26 of Yadav, who is back in P number 13. Now P12. Here comes the move for P2 though. Prithvi finally gets a run to the outside line. Sends it hard on the brakes. Just can't get it to stick quite yet. No, here comes the move to the revolver corner. Prithvi gives space. Saran tries to look to the right side. He loses some grip on the bottom side. To Redmond corner, Prithvi has the preferred line for the entry. Can he make it stick before the switchback? Yes. And here comes Kuti trying to lap himself, nearly shoved off the racing line as he gets into the battle for second. Remember, Kuti not for position here. Could become a factor here as there's the slide. Saran now in the dirty air, losing grip on the end of this run. There's Kuti right there, able to get the spot back. On the track at least, not for the position. But Kuti's now off into the grass. Kuti with an error mistake. And now his day continues to go from bad to worse. All that as well costs Saran the draft on Prithvi and has closed up Kumar and Summerwell for a chance to get on the podium. A massive sequence there as Summerwell now looks to pounce. More tire smoke once again from Sarah. He's done that a couple times. The 13-year-old driver with 1 year of sim racing experience still falling behind in Summerwell, trying to look for any chance to jump. Backing up the corners this time, though, trying to get a little bit further back, a different line. Kumar struggling with tightness, but trying to arc it off the corner. Somewhere overcooked the corner. That's allowed Kumar now to run away to make it a two-car fight once again for P3. 6 minutes to go on the clock. Action continuing to progress here. We talked about your biggest mover in Yadav on the racetrack. Spoke with the organizers for today's action for a 30-second interview.
I'm Swaraj Yadav from Navi Mumbai, and I'm a fourth year engineering student at final year of engineering. Play cricket or like swimming also. I like playing video games like most of the time. I like Sai or Amit a lot. They are very, very fast. Like I would like to be like. I haven't got much experience in iRacing right now. So I used to play a lot of Assetto Corsa and F1 2017 and right now 2020 also, but I haven't got the experience in iRacing, so I need to learn about that.
Again, Yadav currently in P12. For just about 1 year of sim racing experience, his goal this season was to finish in the top 5 in the championship, increase his consistency and overall pace. Speaking of pace near dead even now between 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Don't forget about 6th place watching along and Kuti, who might be able to impact this battle with 4 estimated laps to go and under 5 minutes on the board. This all happened where Ibrahim's just been the quickest driver outright from the drop of the green flag. Only 3/4 of a second of fall off since the green flag. Everyone else has seen some of their fastest laps recently, but others have seen fall off as much as 1 to 3 seconds. So 33 able to adapt really well to the tire fall off, little of, to be able to just run away with the field right from the get-go. Looking to get multiple max points once again for a 3rd straight race, to say the very least. Speaking of the fights, here's the look again for the final step of the podium. This may come down to the final laps of the race. Goal for Kumar. Try and get a top 3 in the standings. He's looking to do that. Here's a look at the replay, though. You see how close he got there with the arrow, but with some of the curbing, you hit too much of it on the exit especially. You have some wiggle moves like that. A massive tank slapper for the 98, nearly spinning it around. Still give credit to several of the youngsters still riding along in P5, looking for top 5 run. He's been able to run away from the 41 for the Ronin Simsport Academy driver behind. And Satarev Durata, who is in the 41 machine still. Cook Day's in 7th. Tija quietly has been running in 8th. Fernandez and Root looking for the top 10. Remember, invert will happen for tomorrow's race. Round out the action on this weekend, as well as the junior race going to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. That starts off at about 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. For those in North America, IST time is approximately about 9 p.m. You see a big moment on screen for the replay. This is the 41. He's having the wiggles as well in the curves. Several drivers have struggled with that throughout this race so far today. With the final couple minutes of the race, going to be important to make sure survivability is there. One of the cleanest races in terms of fast repair usages in this series this season so far. Again, only 5 drivers have had to use fast repairs. Tadia did not make it to the start, unfortunate for him in this race. Final 2 laps, by the way, in 11th spot, Mahanraja. Dav currently in P12, looking to get good starting position tomorrow. Semmerwell, though, closest he's been to Kumar in about 5 laps. Close enough to take the send? I don't think so. Thinking about it, however, just not close enough. Needs an air car length to try and make the move realistically for the final lap. To tire track once again for the final few moments of this action. Summerwell with the diamond. Slide for Kumar. All while Ibrahim takes the white flag this time by for the final minutes of the race. 40 seconds on the clock, white flag. Summerwell loses time in Sector 3, however, out of Redmond Corner. Not able to take advantage by the time they got to Hobbs Corner. Kuti is elected to stay out of the fight for this battle for position. Sahil Sarwar currently in great position to lock in his first podium in his first start of the season. He's pulled away by almost 2 seconds and has been able to break away from the draft as well. Saipreet V in line for the second step of the podium. As long as he can keep the car on the track, will Ibrahim? He's just ready to try and take another victory in the number 33 machine, in what has been a dominant performance for him. One last look at the battle for 4th. Summerwell much further back compared to last time. Late breaks his way hard into Sector 2. Not close enough to fight, while Ibrahim, he's close enough to celebrate. With a gap of more than 14 seconds, Mohammed Ibrahim puts on a click. He takes home the checker flag and wins race number 5 of Season 4 of the Mumbai Falcons Indian eRacing Championship. Saipreet V in the final corners will take home second spot. And a much needed points performance for him. Sarah coming home with a podium. Started from the top 5. Kumar in P4. Summerwell rounding out your top 5. Jariata in P6 in one of his first starts of the campaign. Cook Day in 7th. Ticha in 8th. Fernandez Root round out the top 10 on the racetrack. Rest the drivers in the lead lap. Dav was able to get up to 11th after a mistake from Mahanraja in a grouping for about 11th, 12th, included a car from 15th. Last drivers in the lead lap will be Raghav Taraja along with Divyan Dudian. Rounds out P14. Rest of the field will end up 1 lap down on the racetrack. An exciting race today to open up the weekend at the Yokohama International Circuit. And as the drivers circulate around the racetrack and finalize their positions, let's take a look at how those said positions are now settled as the last driver crosses the stripe. Ibrahim takes home the finish today by 14.3 seconds to take home the W. Saipreet V comes home in second with Sahil Sarwar in third spot. Kumar in fourth, Summerwell in fifth, Majoriata in sixth. Cook Day goes to seventh, Ticha in P8. Fernandez goes up +3 to ninth, but Root comes back from an early mistake to come home P10. Dav comes home in 11th, Mahanraja 12th, Majoria in 13th, Dudia, Kavin, along with Viswas, Kuti, Roy, and Kutudia round out your entrants. Kutudia in 14 did not take to the track today. Exciting action today, to say the very least. An exciting domination for today's action. One man dominated them all. See if we can get a word with your race winner in the number 33 machine. Hamid Ibrahim is now standing by here with us in the broadcast booth. Hamid, dominant performance today. How do you feel winning today's action?
Yeah, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. The race was really awesome. It was a really fun race out there. It was quite easy for me. but I was still pushing quite a bit, so it was a nice race.
Why do you feel it was so easy in terms, especially the speed? Because you barely fell off the entire race. About 3/10 of seconds at the most. You fell off at the most. While others were falling off as much as 3 seconds.
I believe my race pace is quite good actually. Compared to others, I think the people behind were fighting, so I could pull away. So that's why.
Now, of course, tomorrow there is the invert for the race. You've been gaining lots of great points the past 3 rounds to put yourself into the championship fight after no points for the opening race of the campaign. What's your mindset going to be like for tomorrow?
I will try to make as many positions as I can, not to take too much risk, and do the best I can.
Anyone you want to thank for your victory today?
Yes, I would like to thank the commentators. I would like to thank you. I would like to thank Mumbai Falcons, Mohit Dunodia, Volkswagen, and everyone who made the series possible. It was a great event, and thank you so much.
Congratulations on the victory today. You put on the clinic. Again, that's Mohammed Ibrahim, your race winner for today. Sai Prithvi came home in P2 and fell back 14 seconds on the racetrack. Sai, how are you feeling about the second step of the podium today? Sai Prithvi, do you have a copy, sir?
It was a relatively good race today. I had a pretty bad start in the beginning. Sohail had a flyer and he just went up the inside and took third position immediately in the start. Then it was all up to me to make sure that I avoided all incidents that was going on. And it was a pretty good battle with him. We had a few moments where my heart went up to my mouth and I felt a little scared. But I think it was a really enjoyable battle with Sohail Shah today.
Yeah, it definitely looked fun today. What do you plan to adjust to try and keep up with the pace with Ibrahim to try and be able to not only cut through the traffic, but also try and come home with the max points for the day, for the invert?
I still have a lot of things to learn from both Amit and Ibrahim. They are on another league compared to me. I just have to do a lot of work and it will take some time, in my opinion. It's a long process. It's not going to happen overnight, but I'll keep grinding. I'll keep going as much as possible.
Anyone you want to thank for your second step of the podium today?
I would like to thank eRacing, Volkswagen Motorsport, and Mumbai Falcons, Indy Karting, and eRacing for giving me this amazing opportunity.
Congratulations to the P2 today. A great points haul heading into the next race tomorrow afternoon. Congrats.
Thank you.
Sai Prithvi coming home in P2 today. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning in for today's coverage for the Mumbai Falcons Indian eRacing Championship in association with Volkswagen Motorsport India. I'd like to congratulate Mohammed Ibrahim on the victory today. We'd also like to remind all our fans that tomorrow the action continues with the junior race starting at 8:50 p.m. Indian Standard Time, with the pro race taking the track by 9:40 p.m. estimated start time tomorrow. Once again, WeatherTech Raceway, we're going to Sega for the junior race, back to Okayama for the pro action. You can catch that all tomorrow on IR Esports' social media pages. But with that, it's time to say goodbye. For director Saurabh Banjiopanjay, I'm Justin Prince. Enjoy the rest of your Independence Day and enjoy the rest of your day overall.